are the chosen few. From the shadows we rise with the rarest finds. Collect them, respect them, we're one of a kind. TOYLEET, we're in the streets. Elite with defeats in this collectible feast. TOYLEET, never the street. We're the heart of the beat, where all playmates meet. Check our stacks, our collection supreme. Limited editions, every collector's dream. We're the myths, we're the legends, with every drop. Taking over the block, we never stop. In the alleys where the echoes play. TOYLEET's the name, hear what we say. Rising, thriving, always thriving. In our realm we're always dropping. TOYLEET, we're in the street. The live TOYLEET, setting the pace. With a snap of the case and a click of the lock. TOYLEET's on top and we're ready to rock. Collecting more than just toys, we're up. We're up. We're up. TOYLEET, never the street, we're the heart of the beat, where all playmates meet. We're the tree, we're the TOYLEET, watch the throne, cause in this zone, we never admit defeat. Come for the thrill, stay for the chase. TOYLEET's in the place, set in the pace.
What's up, peoples? What's up? It's just me tonight. I do have a special guest with me, but Travis is on another vacation, as Punk says. Not really, though. He's actually got called out of town for work, so we had to shift things around a little bit. But we've been going since the first of the year, not missing a Tuesday. So I figured I'd roll the show by myself and bring on a special guest. This guy and I have been friends on the internet for, I think, 12 to 15 years, something like that. A long time. We go way back. We've never met in person, but we've talked plenty of times, and always considered one of my better friends. So hope everybody's doing good tonight. And as you can see, Travis is here in the chat with us. So, if you guys want to give him a hard time, feel free. I won't be playing any more songs other than the intro and the outro tonight. That's Travis's department. He's the music guy. So you guys get a break from Travis's music tonight. So you should be thankful for that. But without further ado, I'm going to bring in my special guest. It's his primary action figure focus in toys is mostly G.I. Joe vintage stuff, 12-inch stuff, and mostly revolves around the Adventure Team. He has an awesome YouTube channel, which the links are in the description of this video for his YouTube channel. So feel free to go over there, give Jeff a like, watch some videos. He does some really cool action figure movies with his G.I. Joe. So head on over there. Without further ado, here is Jeff from Skunkworks Studio. What's up, brother?
What's going on, dude? How's it going?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Great, man. Hey, first off, thanks for having me on, dude. I really appreciate you reaching out to me. I don't normally get to do a lot of live streams. Not a lot of people ask me because I think they don't like my beard. I don't know. But luckily, I got to be on yours this week. And also on Thursday, Brotherhood of the Bald Head. Punk with Toys. I'm going to get on there and hit him up there. So I really appreciate it, Ed. What's going on?
Oh, just been working and playing a lot, I'm doing good. I set a goal for myself after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's. Should have bumped my damn laptop. To take at least one picture and post it every day on Instagram. And I've been doing it every day. And I got to tell you, I've gained 100, almost 200 followers on Instagram just since the new year by posting every day. So,
whoa, is that something like you read and like somebody who's like suggested that, or is this something you just came up with?
I just decided that it was something I was going to try, and it seems to be working. So I'm just
consistency and effort are like two of the most important things you can have in any hobby, right? I did carnivore diet for 1 month.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I lost 10 pounds I didn't need to lose, but I did straight carnivore, so nothing but meat. And I did sauna 3 times a week. and then my normal kettlebell workout. And man, woo!
Yeah, Punk will be challenge you to who's got the best guns in the business on Thursday.
He's got
night.
bigger guns than me, probably. He looks like he's a little thick guy like myself, but
Yeah, Punk is just like Wolverine or Puck from the X-Men, or the Canadian X Force, right? He's short. He's only like 4 foot tall, but he's got some build to him. So
that's dope, man. Yeah,
when Buddy the Elf says, "Oh, you're an angry elf," that's Punk.
Angry elf, yeah, I know. Been there, done that. I have noticed all your pictures though. They've been posting a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
there's a lot
trying to keep it rotated too. Different things, different themes, all sorts of stuff. So
what right now is your favorite action figure to really to do photos of? I know you've been doing a lot of the Superman figures.
Yeah, I really like the Clark Kent. He's a really solid figure. Everybody takes pictures of him with his shirt ripping open, showing the S and all that stuff, which is cool. I love those pictures. But for me, I just the way he's built, just with the suit on and the hat and all that. He's a cool guy. So I've been taking all these, traditional shots of him sitting on a couch, him sitting in a diner having breakfast, and everybody else is like, "I'm turning into Superman."
Now, did I see some? Was it Savage Crucible? Was that you who posted some of those, or somebody else maybe? Is that your buddy that you sometimes post with?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I saw those the other day too. Those are dope.
Yeah.
Those are great figures. They're cool.
My buddy Rob was up last weekend, not this past weekend, but last weekend. He came Friday morning and stayed till he was supposed to leave Monday, but then we had a shit ton of snow on Monday, so he ended up staying till Tuesday morning. But he lives in New York City, so it's only a 6-hour drive for him, but he just needed a break from regular life, so he came over and hung out with me, and we just played around for the weekend, so it was good.
That's right. That's kind of the first thing I kind of wanted to open with is so you and I have a really unique I guess experience that I don't know if a lot of people in the 1/12 hobby have now. I'm not sure what the age group is, but you and I are, I'm 50. You're what, 52? 52.
Yeah.
So I knew you were 2 or 3 years older than me. So we remember the 70s. We definitely remember the 80s. We remember the 90s. And you and I both remember the G.I. Joe boom of the mid 90s into the early 2000s of the 1/6 scale stuff, which I'm still into for the most part, but like you said, vintage. And I'm, when I look back at that era, I look back on it fondly, but I don't think I ever really appreciated just how fun and how really cool it was, because you had Hasbro come out of nowhere again, doing classic collection. Then you had boutique toy companies like 21st Century pop up, Dragon Models, BBI, everybody. And I think I'm starting to see that now in the 1/12 world with the return of G.I. Joe. Valaverse comes out, out of nowhere. And then you've got, Fresh Monkey Fiction and all these other really cool manufacturers, not just of 1/12, but also your 1/18th. And you guys are, and you're in that group now. They're experiencing kind of what we experienced in the late 90s, early 2000s. So my advice to everybody out there is appreciate it while it lasts, because everything has a bubble.
The only thing I really don't like about today's toy world is I'm not able to go to the store and buy it. And it happened that was one of the most. I remember the first 12-inch G.I. Joe that I had, that was the classic collection, the new stuff in the 90s, right?
Correct. Yeah.
I actually entered a custom figure contest for Toy Fair magazine. And the prize was a 12-inch G.I. Joe, or the grand prize was 3 or 4 of them, whatever it was, right?
Okay.
And of course it was, make a custom military figure and, enter the contest. So I made a military version of the Avengers, right? I had a camouflaged Cyclops and all this other stuff, right? So I won a classic collection, the Navy fuel handler. Remember the purple guy? The grapes, right?
The deck guy.
Yeah, he was the first one I got. And I remember I told my wife at the time, I told her, I was like, listen, I'm not going to get into these figures because they're big, they're expensive. At the time I was collecting Total Justice, some basic, a lot of Star Wars Power of the Force, we're talking $5 figures, and at the time, not that was expensive, but the 12-inch G.I. Joes were $25 to $30, right? Which
Yeah.
nowadays is like, oh, that's nothing. But back then it was like, that's a lot of money for an action figure.
Right.
But I remember I went to the Walmart, like maybe I got the prize in the mail with a nice letter from Toy Fair. It said, congratulations, here's the thing. Of course, opened it immediately. And I had some of my old, the collection of the Adventure Team guys still, but none of the modern stuff. I was like, wow, this guy's just built so awesome, right? He's so, just built solid. You could take those guys and, bash somebody over the head with them and they basically live through it.
They're real tough.
And then I went to the store and the Walmart had the bubble carded figures. Remember with the basic uniform?
the basic figures, the corpsmen, the army, army guy,
Army, U.S. I think it was National Guard or something like that. That first one they set out, but he had a nice uniform, fully clothed, cloth uniform, a helmet, and an M16, and they were like $14.95. I was like, oh hell yeah, right?
Yeah.
So I bought all those, and then 21st Century Toys came out. It was just like,
knocked
and
everything
then
else
at the same time they had what was it, Soldiers of the World, at Target and Toys R Us, right? And they were making those army Jeeps for like $30. You could get a 1/6 scale Jeep that was like the the old Joe Jeep. It was crazy.
You get the Hummer, you could get a Willys, yeah. Looking at the price point of all that back then, it was like you said, you get a basic deluxe. They had like the Alpha, Bravo, figures, and like $25 to $30 was a really nice figure, and the base was $14.99. And then as we progressed into the early 2000s and Dragon models popped onto the scene, you're talking now you're looking at 40, 50, 60, and then Hot Toys, Soldier Story, everybody comes in and they're like, you're like to the $200 mark.
Yeah.
And I kind of see that evolution going on right now in the 1/12 world with, your G.I. Joes are still around $24.99, I think.
Yeah.
But now you're seeing some deluxe sets come out that are $50. And then you have boutique toy companies, which I call the toy companies that aren't Hasbro boutique because they just don't have the ability to produce the volume.
Yep.
But I see those guys coming out now with, like I told you off camera, 1,000 Toys has the Lobster Johnson figure, which is $150 for a guy, 2 guns, and a head sculpt. And that's it. And you're like, I follow patterns, and I just see the pattern starting again. It just like recycles itself. So I mean, I think it's an exciting time for the people that collect the smaller scales.
You can also see though, like that shift, right? Like there's always going to be, I think 1/12 will be a staple, just like 1/18 is, right?
For
you
sure.
can see the shift that there's more more companies coming into that market, and the prices on some of these, like you said, boutique, we call them indie toy lines, getting more expensive. But you're also seeing a resurgence of the 1/18 scale now, because everybody wants to do this world building, and the 1/18 scale guys, are $20 to $25, depending on which way you go with them, right? It's like,
the Super 7 O-rings. I'm not a big fan of those.
No.
I've seen them. I know Pete from the Skull Review just did a review of the Duke. I've not seen any in the wild, but I got to tell you, looking at, if I still had my Duke from when I was a kid, and I look at that Duke from Super 7, there's like zero comparisons.
Oh yeah. I saw them at Joe Fest last year. They had the paint samples, and then the like just the resin, the gray molds of them, and you can just see. I mean, they didn't look bad, but they looked a little wonky compared to what we're used to in that 1/18 scale. Version, right?
So you probably saw the news today where they're releasing the Goofy rock band that Zartan and the Dreadnought had.
Cold Slither.
Cold Slither, that's right. So those are going to be classified, right? And they're also in Super 7's doing an O-ring.
Yeah.
So I noticed, did Super 7 help design those for classified?
It's hard to say because
I don't know either.
The way Hasbro does things now, because they're like on this.
They're outsourcing everything.
Yeah, they're on this binge to get out of the toy making business, right?
Right.
Shift over to entertainment. And they've been licensing out G.I. Joe to
everybody,
Joy Toy and Super 7 and
everybody but you and me and a few of the guys in the chat.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, everybody's got a G.I. Joe license right now.
Everybody can do G.I. Joe now, and it's like
certain
sizes. So Super 7 can do the 3 3/4 inch O-ring,
right?
And Joy Toy can do, or not Joy. I think it's not Joy Toy. It's the other guys, but I can't think of their name. Hiya Toys. They can do the 4-inch version of the G.I. Joes, and then Hasbro gets the with the 6-inch, but the
Okay.
Rahaya toys that are the small version are using the same molds as the 6-inch version that Lenny does for Hasbro. They're using the
Oh,
same
really?
exact designs.
So, but they're only 4 inches tall.
Yeah.
Have you bought any of those?
No.
No, I've seen pictures of them. I think they're
Yeah, they're all
okay
right.
looking. I mean, I look at all these figures, and I'm some of these things I'm like really impressed by. I'm like, damn, that's a really really cool figure. And then some of them I'm like, are you buying that just to be a completist though? And
Yes.
yeah, I see what GI Joe's doing. I mean, I see what Hasbro's doing, and they're mainly just licensing out the Real American Hero.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they do anything else. Like,
Nope.
you'll never see, like, I don't know if it was like Daryl DePriest might have been on a pod or a live stream talking about how Adventure Team they don't let anybody touch it. It's just like the
Nope.
only thing I've seen Adventure Team is that Diamond Select Joe Colton from the Coils of Doom that we're
Which
never
I
going to
fucking
get.
hate.
We're never going to get.
I hate that they named him Joe Colton.
Yeah, it's so stupid too. They should just call him the Adventurer and left out of that.
Right. But the other thing is, like, I see, like, they got that 60th anniversary thing going on right now. And,
I hate those figures.
The 60th anniversary figures were, it was like, okay, they're just classifieds with a bunch of the classified accessories.
Yeah.
But now they got this Fireman coming out, which is a nice little nod to the, the Adventure Team. How far they're going to go with it, right? Are you just going to do a fireman and a cop? Or are you going to do, a fireman and maybe somebody else, right? It's like, and in that market, there's plenty of guys like myself who are using the 1/12 scale figures because they're smaller, they're a little bit more affordable for some of them, in the same way that I was using the Adventure Team guys, right? I'm just creating my own world, my own stories, so it's like, and, that's what you and I have always done, even with, the Adventure Team. It was never, using what the story was. It was, we're going to take the story that you gave us and we're just going to expand on it by.
I'm just going to go do my own thing and come up with my own stuff with your figures.
Yeah.
Those 60th anniversary figures. I thought they were kind of cool. I just thought you should have, if you're going to take the time, you should have used your amazing sculptors that you have.
Yeah.
And made an actual sculpt of the 1964 head and threw it in with that pack. Because you can't call it an anniversary figure if you're not going to pay homage to the original figure. That's my opinion.
I agree 100%. Like, and that's what I said at one point in time too. Was like they could have given it the new classified head, whatever they used, because all they did was recast and repaint. A head they already had. Yep. You could have given it a standard head that all of them came with the same head, right? Even if they were all painted the same, I wouldn't have given a shit if they were all brown hairs or red heads or blonde heads. Didn't matter, right? They could have done one head, put those in every pack as an optional head, and just
and I would have been fine. I even messaged the guy. He's one of the sculptors. He's the kind of chubby dude, little barrel-chested guy who was always on there with Lenny.
Oh yeah.
I messaged him about it, and we went back and forth for a while about it. And he's like, "Well, you never know. We might come up with something like that." I'm like, "Whatever, bro.
Yeah,
you're out of your mind. I know you're not going to." But
a firefighter does have a basic face, and like they could use that head on a bunch of figures and make them a 60th anniversary. But it's Hasbro, so it's hard to say what they're going to do. So
yeah, I don't know either. I mean, I like some of the stuff they're doing, and there's other stuff, but I get it. You're a big corporation, and you got shareholders, and your bottom line.
Shareholders you got to take care of.
I saw they're making like the majority of their money off like Monopoly online. I was degenerate gamblers are just running the show everywhere.
Well, that's what's driving them to go to this, digital entertainment format, right? Because that's where the money's at. And like everybody's upset about this last, Gamerverse Spider-Man wave that just came out for Marvel Legends from Hasbro, right? Like everybody's like, oh, this. Now, granted, it's way overdone Spider-Man, right? You could have done Gamerverse and put some different characters in there. I agree 100%. But if you think about the concept of what the Gamerverse represents, right, which is video games, and that's where Hasbro wants to go to, it's a perfect just, let's put this out there and see what happens. And
I'm sure, I don't know if it's sold out. I was shocked that Spider-Man Max sold out. But,
Spider-Man Maximum sold out fast, dude.
Yeah, I was shocked by that. I think they might have had everybody in their company buy one.
I'm not surprised, really. I mean, people pay $80 to $100+ for a Mafex, right?
That's a real good point.
And Mafex is nothing but a Hasbro Marvel's Legends just done a little better.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
if they're saying that this Maximum's plastic's supposed to be different, the articulation's supposed to be better, the buck's supposed to be better. It's got all these extra accessories. So could it be a $50 figure? It could be if they're actually doing something different than what the normal Marvel Legends is. Now, I don't know where they can go with it because you're doing Maximum Spider-Man. Okay, well, you can't use that buck again for anybody but maybe Daredevil at best, right? It's like,
yeah, I'm anxious to see how that figure holds up. First off,
Yep.
like you said, and I'm also anxious to see if this is kind of a move for them to say, okay, now we can maybe start charging more. And then you're like,
it's Hasbro.
And I mean, I get it. I love capitalism, and if you want to pay that, you can pay it. But you know, yeah.
Here's my problem with the pricing thing, right? The guys that are out there complaining that the maximum is $50
mm-hmm.
are the same guys that are going out and spending $100 on a Mezco Spider-Man or $105 on a Mafex Batman. Yep. Or a SH Figure Arts, you know, whatever figure. And then they're mad that Hasbro's charging $50. It's the first Maximum figure they put out there, so no one has any idea what it actually is going to be. We're all basing this off of Hasbro's past, you know, what they've done with Marvel Legends, which there has been some lackluster shit that they've done. And some of their figures aren't that great as far as the way the plastic fits together and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't complain about Hasbro charging $50. But then go out and buy $100 figure that's just the same figure with a little more accessories, right? It's like, you know,
I bet there's a lot of people who are bitching about that figure who went and bought it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, as fast as it sold out, yeah.
Hell, my buddy Rob was here last week. He was bitching about the price, saying, "I don't want to pay over $35." I was like, "Did you buy it?" He's like, "Hell yeah, I bought it."
I'll buy. Hey, you know what I do, man? I'm a baller on a budget. I'll sit and I'll wait a year or two until somebody throws theirs on there used if I really want something.
Yep.
You know, that's what I've been doing now. While everybody's been, I laugh. Well, everybody's been, you know, buying the new Marvel Legends and the G.I. Joe, and I'm in Japan. I'm on Japan auctions over there buying a ton of shit for nothing. That shit that I wanted maybe a decade ago, and buying it, and then, you know, I got a Mafex Spider-Man, the one like the McFarlane, for $40 in Japan auctions. Now, before I go any further, all the geniuses are like, yeah, but what's the shipping? The shipping becomes a little bit of an issue if you're only buying like a couple things. But I'm buying like 9-10 items.
Yeah,
so
you're
when
buying
I ship
boxes and stuff.
Right. So when I ship it from Japan via FedEx, that's a $50 shipping fee, which might be crazy for people. But when you're buying 10 items at $50, shipping's kind of a wash to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, I mean,
I see people charging $15 for a loose 6-inch figure on eBay now for shipping. I'm like, come on, dude, this is $6 at best.
Dude, well, I'll show you this thing. You probably remember this. I got this for $30 in Japan auctions.
Oh, let me bring you up big screen here. Oh, damn, look at that.
So this was by Skynet back in the 90s. This is Golgo 13, a.k.a. Duke Togo, a.k.a. Man with No Name. This is the 1/6 scale figure of him. It's on a G.I. Joe Classic Collection body. I got it for $30, new mitten package, never opened. And I bought a bunch of other stuff from Japan auctions that I had. Like I bought a shitload of Combat Joes for like $10 a piece. And you know what Combat Joes go for?
Oh
here.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Like we're talking like $200.
Yep.
So I've been spending all my money in Japan and by buying stuff for my son because, you know, he loves Shogun Warriors.
Shoguns, yeah.
Yeah. And I've been getting all these Shogun items and having shipping those here. But anyways, you know, that's what I've been doing. I've been over there buying all that stuff because I just figured, you know, I kind of look at toys like as an investment. Because a lot of this, I try to like a lot of stuff that we try to buy now. I try to make sure, like, is it gonna hold its value over time?
Yeah.
You know, because Marvel Legends, I don't know how well they're gonna hold their value.
They're not.
I mean, I mean,
none of them are going to hold that. None of the figures that are produced today are going to hold any value other than a. Some of them might hold a little bit of value, but most of it's just going to be, what it means to you. I mean, that's just it.
100%. Yeah. My son, Ollie's recently got into Marvel Legends, but he only likes two figures, Iron Man and Spider-Man. And I absolutely hate Iron Man. I hate Iron Man. I hate Iron Man when people ask, why do you hate Iron Man so much? It's for the most ridiculous reason ever, right? I don't hate him because of the cinematic universe or Robert Downey, like none of that stupid shit. I hate Iron Man purely based off of Marvel Civil War comic book. That's how much of a psychopath
You
I am.
petty little bitch.
I am a petty bitch. So I started. I don't know if I probably told you this. I've been reading comic books up until from 1982. My sister got me my first comic book, Uncanny X-Men number 169. Still have it mint in my board, and I read Iron Man. All those. I have probably 10,000 comics bagged and boarded, and I liked Iron Man and all the stories up until we got, which is my opinion, the Winter Soldier storyline. Ed Brubaker, Steve Epstein, amazing, probably one of the best comic book storylines I think in the last 60 years. You got that, then you get the death of Captain America storyline, which is okay, and then you get Civil War. And Tony Stark turned into the biggest government bootlicking piece of shit you ever saw. And I was like, I remember sitting there reading this comic, like, this guy's a piece of shit. I hate Tony Stark, and I don't know why, And ever since then, I've like, Tony Stark's an asshole. I don't like him because he sided with the goddamn government, and I hate him for that, bootlicker. And then there was one comic where Thor, they made a robotic Thor, like a fake Thor. I think Hank Pym and Reed Richards made one. I'm sorry, all you guys in the chat. I am a comic book dork. I could talk comic books for days. But and then that robot killed a bunch of people, and then they got rid of it. Then Thor comes back from the dead, and then he just kicks Tony Stark's ass, and I'm like, I love this. But every time my son's Iron Man, I'm like, fuck Tony Stark. But he loves him. He loves those figures a lot.
I got lucky because my son, he's 19 now. He still collects figures. We've been doing. I mean, he's not as much of a nerd as I am. He, basically lives vicariously through me. But like, he's a big Cyclops fan. A big Silver Surfer is like his favorite. He loves Silver Surfer, right? So, he's got some of those figures and stuff. And but I got lucky because Spider-Man's a cool figure and all, and a cool character, but he's so overdone, overrated, And then once they put him in the MCU, it was done, right? It was all over with after that. So it was like, ugh. And then there's other characters that, like Wolverine, right? I'm not a big guy into the whole, this character is everybody's favorite. I'm like, I'm going to go over here, like, it's just
you're not going to go you're going to go against the grain a little bit.
Yeah,
I do love that new Marvel Secret Wars Wolverine. That's a cool figure.
Oh yeah.
That's a very well done.
Well,
figure.
The Secret Wars, man, that was childhood stuff right there.
That was a great comic book too. And I had the Mattel Secret Wars line.
Yeah,
and that was great. It had really nothing to do with the comic, but
I'll tell you what, I grew up right as a big DC guy. My uncle who got me into comic books was always DC, right?
Yep.
He had a couple of, like Spider-Man and things like that. Like he's got an original Spider-Man, like number 2 or some shit like that. Right?
Oh,
crazy.
Shit.
Yeah, crazy, right? I mean, a couple of really nice old comic books, but he was always a DC guy. So, of course, being introduced to comics through him, I just gravitated to DC. Always been a DC guy myself. I never even really knew like the Marvel characters other than seeing like those wacky, remember those old 1970s like Captain America and Spider-Man movies that were on TV, right? They were just like Captain
really
America wearing like a regular motorcycle helmet with the star on it,
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Oh yeah, the live action movies.
Yeah. And so I never saw a Marvel character really until the Secret Wars came out. And at that time, I was almost to that age where I was kind of getting out of toys for playing, right? But I was still getting them. And I had a lot of the superpowers. And then, of course, the Secret Wars came out. And I was like, oh, these things are cool, right? So got a bunch of the Secret Wars, and just seeing that Wolverine when it came out, I was like, and then the Spider-Man, I was like, yeah, I got to probably get those two.
Yeah, Wolverine was like one of my favorite characters in the 1980s, which I think anybody in my age group probably who read comics,
Oh,
if
yeah,
you were a
for
Marvel
sure.
guy, you loved
Yep.
Wolverine. I mean, you had a really awesome run of, I think it was John Romita Jr. drew there for a while. Then I think there was a couple artists in between. Then Mark Silvestri replaced him, and then like he took X-Men to a completely different level. Him and Chris Claremont, and then Jim Lee came in, and it was before Jim Lee got really terrible at everything he does, and. That's my opinion.
I'm going to run through and just say hi to everybody real quick.
All right, do it. Let's kick him out.
We got Roll Keeper here first. He was first this week. He's been working a new job, so he hasn't been able to be here. Like I said, Travis is hanging out in the chat, probably sitting in a hotel wishing he was here with us, but
probably watching wrestling.
Probably watching wrestling. And we got Menhoza here. What's up, Menhoza? And Fat Red Foo. What's up, Chuckleheads? Nolan, who makes us Toy Tube official now. What's up, Nolan? And let's see who else we got here. We got Punk, of course, and just in case anybody missed it, Jeff will be on Punk's Thursday with a Friend Thursday night at 9 o'clock. So if you don't get enough of Jeff here, you can always go over and check him out there Thursday. The Briscoe, what's up, Briscoe? G.I. Jetman's here. What's up, G.I. Jetman?
Oh, man.
Punk saying, I'm eating an ice cream sandwich right now. Oh, shut up, Punk. You better get those guns ready. You only got a couple months left. Action Joe Figs.
Yep, he's a good dude. Yep.
Yeah,
Cosmicara.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Northern Nomad's here. What's up, Nomad? And let's see. There's no greater feeling than finding a figure out in the wild. Absolutely.
That's true.
Clint Jorgensen is here. Dave's Dimensions. Both cool guys. What's up, Dave? What's up, Clint? And Ostradamus Toys. What's up, Oz?
There's Oz.
Oz is all over the place, man.
He does. He's everywhere.
Yeah. Action Joe Fig says he mainly collects 1/6 scale, but he's been picking up Valaverse and now some McFarlane's. Yeah, not bad choices. Not bad choices.
It's a slippery slope when you start getting into the scales.
If Valaverse gets a G.I. Joe license, man, it's gonna blow up the toy community. They won't know who to be mad at.
I don't know if he can do that. I don't know if he can do that and have any credibility.
Well, the only thing he could do is say, "Well, look, I made it better," but the toy community would implode on itself.
But you know what? Money is a funny thing.
Yeah,
I've found that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Nomad says, "Yeah, I hate it when eBay sellers and Mercari charge more for retail and shipping on a used figure than what the figure would cost in a new package." No doubt. Turk Murphy's Toy Solutions. What's up, Turk? And Action Joe Fig saying, yeah, he's been on a Japan kick too. Shipping is a wash because of how cheap you can get the stuff. Absolutely.
True story, man. We got a legend on here.
Troy Dotson and G.I. Jetman saying, yeah, his favorite character is Beast, so he goes against the grain. And we got Second Marlowe. Hey, what's up?
That's Sean Huckster.
Oh, awesome. What's up, Sean?
The 3D printing legend, man.
Yeah. And I remember when Sean first came out with like those was it the drones that he first came out with on Cotswold?
I believe he did do the drone.
Or was
first.
It was either the drone or the ATV little cargo thing.
I think he did the drones first, and then he did the rack system after that, I think. I
never got any of his stuff, but I remember sitting there staring at those damn Cotswold catalogs going, at the time I couldn't afford it, right? It was like, I was making as much stuff and scrounging as much as I could.
He said the drone was first. Yeah, Sean gets a lot of my money through Cotswold, and I love giving it to him because he's made a lot of my photo stories.
Well, yeah, it was just cool stuff. I did get some of those the wrist controllers that he made, the things that snapped over the arm. I did have some of those.
So if you give him a follow on his YouTube channel, he's been doing these reviews. You remember Mighty Max?
Yeah,
little handheld, like about 50 deluxe or 50 sets on all maybe or something like that. He's been doing little reviews of those, and I forgot all about those, but they're really interesting to go back and revisit that.
I saw some guy the other night who was doing reviews of the muscle figures. You remember the old
Oh,
little
geez. I wish I
pink,
still had mine.
yeah, the pink muscle figures. Some
Those are
guy's
worth
doing a
some
review
money.
on YouTube. I stumbled across him, was watching him, and then I went and did something else. I was like, oh, I gotta, I never subscribed to him, so now I got to go back through my history and try finding the guy and figure out.
Man, they were the most unique color. And I remember riding my bike over to Kmart in our town here in Paris, and you could buy them out of the vending machine. They're in the quarter machines.
Yep.
And then you could go in and you could get like small packs of them, then you could buy tubs of them.
Yep.
But I remember we would get those in Garbage Pail Kid cards, and we would just sit and just trade them all day long.
Oh yeah.
I probably had 100 of those muscle figures, I bet, when I was a kid.
Like
I'm not sure what happened to them.
They were like the 60s and 70s version of the Little Green Army Men. That's all they were.
Sure.
You buy bags of them, or like you said, you get a bucket of them for $10 or whatever it was. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, the muscles were super cool. I see them on Japan auctions on occasion.
Yeah.
Syndico, and I'll be like, holy shit, I should buy all those. I'm like, man, I gotta stop doing it. I gotta stop buying
that's like I started collecting. I have the 1/6 scale stuff, and I have a ton of 1/12 scale stuff, and then I have some of the 3 3/4 inch stuff that's new, but I have like my Fisher Price Adventure People, a few sets of that, and then I have a couple of the original Eagle Force diecast figures, right? And Fresh Monkey Fiction was making the Eagle Force 4-inch figures, right? So I started picking up a couple of those, and it's like, fuck, I gotta stop going to all these different scales because I just can't afford all this.
That's kind of what I do now. I just I primarily always buy my 1/6 scale stuff. Like if Sean comes out with something new on Cotswold, I usually budget myself to be able to buy that.
Yeah.
And then I buy whatever stuff I need if I'm making a photo story, and then but there's other stuff I'll see. I buy more now probably for my son than me.
That happens.
Yeah. You know what Crunchyroll is? You ever watch Crunchyroll?
I've never watched it, but I know what it is.
We got a 1-month subscription to Crunchyroll to just see what the anime was like, because he really loves one of his favorite characters is Mazinger Z. And I think it's dope. We started watching Kaiju number 8 on Crunchyroll. And I got to tell you, I don't watch a lot of cartoons, but that is a kick-ass cartoon. So the figures, I got him a figure, an SH Arts figure in Japan of that Kaiju number 8. So if any of you guys in the chat, if you're familiar with Kaiju number 8, check it out. It's pretty cool looking. But
there's a bunch of anime heads in here.
Oh yeah, I love a lot of anime, but
I've been on a kick of watching on YouTube. They have like the collections of like just the old cartoons. It'd be like 1978, Saturday morning CBS, right? And it'd be like 8 hours of just straight cartoons. And I'll just turn it on. I'll go out to the kitchen, tinker around with whatever I'm building or whatever, and that's just on in the background. And it's like I hear something click, and I'm like, "Wait, I know that. I remember that one." Oh, we got another legend in the house. What's up, Murray
Corrigan? I think the Canadians are in. The Canadians.
I'll tell you a story about Murray. I met Murray. Well, I didn't ever meet him, but I talked to Murray on Facebook. I think it was back way, and it was like really starting to explode, and he hadn't even started his Corrigan holsters business yet. He was just making them custom.
Oh, cool.
And I commissioned him to make a dual holster for my custom Bruce Willis figure from The Last Man Standing, where he's like in the 1940s, 1920s, right? And it's a dual leather holster. Murray made it, I sent Murray a couple pictures from the movie. He made it perfect. And then I hadn't really talked to him after that for a while, and then all of a sudden I saw Cotswold or somebody was carrying Corrigan holsters.
Holsters.
I know that shit.
Yeah, I reached out to Murray a while. Oh boy, I can't remember how many years ago. I was doing a Bullet Man figure, and he made me a custom dual revolver for Bullet Man's 2 giant pistols. Yeah, but we got some really talented people in the 1/6 scale community, and
100%. Well, you're one of them, dude. I mean. Like anybody that wants to see some cool shit, just go over. Like I said, Jeff's YouTube channel is in the description. Go over and check out some of his photo stories, some of the customs crazy stuff he gets into, and it's just amazing stuff.
I try. I'm doing the 3D print stuff now, and I'm just like a baby. You look at Sean, and that's like I don't know what the highest level of wizard is, but he's like there. He's like, I'm at the ceiling right now, looking down at everybody. I'm just doing little repair parts and stuff, but it is very addictive and fun. But
Yeah, I've been watching your YouTube channel I was going to tell you this. I've watched your YouTube channel since you basically started it, right? And your YouTube channel is doing good. What are you up to in followers right now?
2,440 maybe.
Yeah, that's good,
Yeah,
good stuff, right? I mean, you've been working at it a long time. You put a lot of effort into it.
I
And
do.
then out of nowhere, the beginning of your video say, "I'm just a knucklehead. I'm not an expert."
I
And
put a
the first time
disclaimer.
I saw that, I was like, "What the hell happened that Jeff had to put the disclaimer?"
Nothing
This
nothing
video.
happened. You know why I did that, honestly? So I started to see all these people putting disclaimers on there. And I was like shitting on it. Like, what the hell, man? What are you guys doing? And then I started to wonder, I wonder if the algorithm pushes your stuff more if you put that. I don't think it does.
Yeah.
But I did that. I wanted to make a funny one. So you know who wrote that for me? ChatGPT.
Did they?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think I had ChatGPT write it, and then
Yeah.
I kind of changed the knucklehead portion. But it's funny you should mention the YouTube stuff because it's really interesting, the journey from YouTube, because I started back in 2019 prior to COVID. I started just putting just simple videos on there, right?
Yep.
And then after that 2020, I was kind of bored. I didn't know what to really do. So I just started kind of just doing videos because to see how it turned out. I reached out to Pete from the Skull Review, and Pete gave me some advice because Pete had like a lot of followers.
Oh yeah.
He had like 7,000 subscribers, I think. And I came up with a plan and I stuck to it. Like you said with your action figure posting, like one a day. I came up with a plan and I stuck to it. And I've had people message me and ask me, "Hey, why do you do things this way? Or why do you do things that way?" And I'm like, I don't really know. It sounded good to me at the time. And I don't know if it's the correct way to do it. And I don't even care because I think what I love about my YouTube channel is I do what I want to do when I want to do it. And that's what I do. And I've had people try to give me advice. I've had people say, well, you should do this or you should do that. And I'm like, look, here's the deal. This is my channel. Thanks for the advice. I might take it. I might not. But I gotta do what I want to do because that's who I am.
Right. Well, the thing is a lot of people have this hard thing of understanding, right? Like Punk, he turned his YouTube channel from just doing some reviews because he wanted to do it into a business, basically, right? He's got basically a brand, which is Punk with Toys, right? That's a brand now. And he's built his YouTube channel, and that his focus is his YouTube channel outside of his, regular adult life. And he's got a plan, and he's got, his schedule that he keeps, and he does, he doesn't want anything to tarnish that or, affect that.
Yep.
Then there's some people that just do this as, part of an extension of the hobby and, interacting and everything else, right? And then there's some people that are just like, I just have it because, once in a while I feel like sharing my opinion. It's really hard to give advice when everybody's really in it for a different game. If I went to Punk and said, hey, I want to grow my YouTube channel, I want to become, where I'm monetized and making decent money off of it, what do I need to do? He would absolutely tell me how to do it, right? And then it'd be up to me to follow his instructions. But I'm not that guy, right? I'm like, I'm just going to grow this as I grow. If I get big, I get big. If I don't, I don't.
Yeah.
I hate doing standard content. It's just not my thing. So it's,
I had some people reach out to me, some guys last summer about their channel and how to get their channel better. I'm like, well, I said, I don't really know how to tell. I don't know what to tell you. I'm like, my thing's always this. If you're passionate about something, go with your gut and do what you want to do. Like, but don't try to copy anybody else's stuff.
Yep.
Just do what you want to do. That's what I do with my channel. Like, I put out 2 videos a week, sometimes 3. Reviews day Tuesday, and then on my Fridays. And the people are like, why do you release it at 6:30 in the morning? Well, because I get to work at 6:30 in the morning.
Yep.
And then that's what I did. I'm like, okay, I upload the video, I hit it, go to work, and by the time I get to work, the video's on there,
Yep.
And but I have no rhyme or reason. I just love my hobby, and I love to do videos of the things I am interested in. And I think that's what makes my channel pseudo successful. I mean, I'm somewhere in between. Like, I'm a hobbyist, just sharing with you what I'm doing in it, and I have a little bit of a brand in a way. Like, a lot of people know who my channel is.
Yourself a brand for sure,
right? But I just really, and I really like to bring other people's stuff that they make or whatever on and showcase that. I want to help other people.
Yeah.
get their shit out there. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You know, that's just the kind of dude I am. But yeah, it's hard at times. I mean, it's really, really hard to keep a schedule and keep it going. You know, it's even harder when you got people like goddamn Angelo making fun of my beard, my flock beard figure.
Well, Angelo, you know, the best part is I taught Angelo all the little tricks that I was using to flock with, right? Way back, you know, what was that, 10 years ago, 15 years ago now?
Yep.
And I showed him all the little tips and tricks, how to do it the standard, you know, normal way without even having a machine. And like 2 months later, Angelo's like, look at this. I'm like, holy shit, dude, how the hell did you do that? And he's like, yeah, you know, I just did this, and this way. That's fucking amazing. So he took like anything I gave him and just, you know, blew it out of the water. It was like to the point where I was asking him to do like custom hairdos for me. I was like,
yeah, he's there. Yeah, he's really good at, he's a very talented creator on all levels. Yeah, he really loves it, and he's got a lot of money invested in it, and it's
lots of money. I mean,
it's always fun to see all those guys and how passionate they are about all the stuff that they're doing. And you know,
that man says your beard's awesome, so don't take offense.
Hey, thanks. It's getting there. It's getting about where it was before I got sick a few years ago. I mean, back when I was back before COVID, my beard was about down to here. You couldn't have read my shirt.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was big, but you know, I don't know if I'll let it get that big again. But
Sean says he thinks the beard's got to go.
Who said
I'll
that?
tell you, I'd seen Sean Huckster said that. I remember you had a beard forever, dude, and then you got sick and you had that thing taken care of. Yeah. And you come back on with just your mustache.
Handlebar mustache.
The same guy.
Yeah. What's funny, my son's 6, and he's never, up until that point, he'd never known me without a beard. And now he's like, that's one of the reasons why I don't shave it off. I'm like, he's like, Dad, you can't shave your beard. That's your superpower. I'm like, well, I don't know about that. But
he said so. You got to go with it, right? That's what your son's telling you. So.
I let him and his mom, I let them manage my life outside of YouTube. So
yeah,
but on YouTube,
that's the joys of being married and having children. They get to tell you what to do.
Sean says, to me, beards only belong on Adventure Team Joe. Hey, speaking of that, I want to show you a couple things that I've been making. There's you guys.
Do you want me to bring out the pictures you did first, and then
yeah, so you can throw those on there. I was gonna I'll talk about a few of those things too. And
let's talk about those, and then you can show off some of your stuff.
Yeah. There's some stuff up there. I think I sent you on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
There's my logo, obviously.
That's just your logo.
It's just
now,
my
I was
logo.
checking this out. This is badass.
That's my brand new Facebook page. I used to have the Jungle Keep Living the Adventure, and I got that one. I created that with AI art. I'm sure there's people who are going to be up in arms over it, but I think it's cool. You know what I did? I took the G.I. Joe Mummy's Tomb picture, and I had the program create something similar, like inspired by it.
Yeah.
I was like the 3rd iteration they gave me, and I said, that's cool. I'm going to go with that.
That is awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like AI art stuff like this, you know, if you're using it for your own stuff and you just want something cool to look at, I think it's fine. You know,
I just needed a banner for my page.
Yeah. So. People are always like, well, why don't you pay an artist? Because it's going to cost me $500 to have a banner that I'm not getting any money from. That's why.
Yeah, it's like because I'm broke from spending all my money on other stuff.
Exactly.
Dogan Warriors right now.
Yeah. This is awesome. I love this picture. Very cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. So these are for those of you guys out there who do follow my channel, who maybe are interested in following my channel. So you guys, Ed, you know that I make my own custom mummies and Sasquatches. Yep. So
I have one of your custom mummies still. Yep.
Right. One of my biggest problems with the people who make Sasquatches for G.I. Joe is they're too small. Right. The Hasbro one's too small. Yep. Cotswold made one recently that's just too small. And I get why they do that. But I make my own that are 15 inches tall. And the figure, the face there on the, I guess on my left, looking at the screen is that's a Yeti I did a few years ago. And then that's a mummy that I did. I'm going to do a how-to video, I think, this year on how to build both of those. So
I think the mummy one, I mean, that's pretty basic. You know, I remember when you first you did a how-to video for that at one point in time, didn't you?
Yeah.
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 Because that was I mean, not that it's easy, but it's not overly complicated either. It's not like sculpting.
Right. Yeah. No, the mummies are really easy, but the Sasquatches are a lot more. The
Yeah.
Yetis and stuff are way because I sculpted that face by hand using poly clay. That was when I was first just getting into sculpting. I can sculpt pretty well now. I can sculpt a pretty good face now. So yeah, I'm gonna do some how-to videos. I think this year for people who are interested and want to make their own stuff.
Well, yeah. What was it? Fucking 10 years ago, you and I started building our own custom Sasquatches at the same exact time. And
Yeah, it's fun too.
All right. Next is
Yeah, so here's some more
Yeti.
pictures. So there's the 2 Yetis I made, and that's the Sasquatch. I actually had that Sasquatch made by an artist out in New Mexico. You remember that?
Yep.
But yeah, Chris Andres was his name. I'm not sure if he's still active or not, but I looked at that. That inspired me to make those 2 guys. So
yeah, that one that Chris did was wild because that was kind of like more of the wild man stories that you hear about, where it wasn't really come out Bigfoot at that point in time. It was just the wild man of the woods, where he's.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, those Yetis came out nice.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, the one in the front here always reminds me of, remember War of the Gargantuans or whatever?
I do, and that's probably what I was thinking of when I made it.
Yeah, that face looks so much like that.
I had a Dark Horse Comics Hellboy Universe BPRD comic that had Sasquatches or Yetis in it in the Himalayas, and I had a picture of that Yeti, and I tried to make it similar to that, but it came out like that dude there.
Yeah, so that one company, Loose Collector, they make like the werewolves that are like the crypt. So they
they do a Sasquatch too, right?
They're just sculpting a Sasquatch. A Yeti now. So
what scale is going to be?
Well, the wolves are considered 1/12, but they're like 9 inches tall, and the Yetis and the Squatches are supposed to be bigger than those. So it's going to be interesting to see what they come up with.
That's going to be dope.
So I'm really excited. I'm like, someone's like, I don't know if I should get Yeti or Sasquatch. I'm like, just get both then. It's a real simple concept.
Yeah, definitely get both. So these
I
are
was looking
heads.
at these earlier. I was interested. What's going on with these?
So these aren't done yet. These are heads that I'm working on. So what I did is I was just dicking around one night, and I decided to mold a muscle body late issue GI Joe head in silicone. I put the neck post up in there, mold it with silicone, and then take it out, and then drill out the bottom and core it. And then I've been painting these, and I wanted to make Scarface Joes, like battle damaged Joes.
Yeah.
So these are the ones, and I put an eye patch on that one there, and I'll refine them and get them all cleaned up and then flock them. And then they'll look really nice. I got a couple that are done here. When we're done here, I'll show you on camera. But I made about 8 of them. I'm going to throw them on eBay. I know. Yeah, they'll look really good when they're flocked. But the scars I make with mill putt. So, yeah.
That was one of the cool things, like everybody's always like, oh, I don't want a Joe that's got himself battle damage. I'm like, those are the best kind. It's like, I always love finding those, the crates, the Foot Lockers. And they had like the dude's name on there, that was, you give himself a rank and a specialty. And I'm like, I wonder if I could find this guy.
Yeah. That would be cool if you could find him on Facebook. Hey, bro, I got your Joe.
Yeah, that'd be so awesome to do.
Restore it and send it back to him.
Yeah. Always dreamed about doing that. Never did, but that was always something I always thought of, oh, this is Mike Smith. And I'm like, I wonder if I could find Mike Smith. Well, there's 1,000 of them. So
yeah,
that's right. Like Murray says, right. It shows that they were played with and loved for sure.
Yep. Play with your toys. That's what I tell everybody.
Right. Play with the toys. And then let's talk about this for a minute.
So yeah, the Golden Skull. So that is something that I came up with last year. I was kind of in a chat with some of the dudes in the AOA, the Axis of Awesome, and I kind of wanted to do something to involve everybody in our Axis of Awesome community. If you guys out there wonder what that is, when I first started my YouTube channel, and as it started to become a little more popular, more people started to reach out to me via email, and I made some really good friends that all have YouTube channels, like Elite Action Joe Studios, Adam Steedman's got a great channel, G.I. Joe Lost Chronicles, and a few of the other dudes on there. And we all kind of got together and formed this little bond, and we created this Axis of Awesome, which is kind of like a 1/6 scale, mostly 1/6 scale community of GI Joe lovers. And I wanted to do something that let everybody in the community kind of participate, because a lot of people don't have YouTube channels. A lot of people would like to have YouTube channels but don't know how to start it. So I created this Golden Skull story where you basically take you create a story like an anthology story centered around a golden skull. And I didn't care what the story was, just make it about a golden skull and using your GI Joes, and create a cool content story that we can kind of debut in October this year. So that's kind of how it launched.
By, Murray.
Later, Murray. So that's kind of how it started, and I think it's got a pretty decent amount of people. I know you're.
So that's what I was going to ask. You got quite a few people signed up yet?
I think so, and I think it's going to be fun. And basically, anybody that has a YouTube channel is going to put that on their YouTube channel, and anybody who doesn't is going to send either me or Paul Knapp a video or some photos.
You guys have done a few contests already, right? Like Adam had one for custom figures, right? Most of them have been for custom figures up to this point, right?
Correct. And this is something I thought would be cool that everybody can do. Everybody can participate. Like if you have an Instagram or Facebook, just create a photo or a cool photo story or a stop motion and just hashtag it Curse of the Golden Skull. So somebody can click that hashtag and find it.
So I wanted to tell you, outside of the 1/6 scale one that I'm working on with the skull I just finished painting the skull you sent me yesterday. I've been working on a 1/12 scale one. I was already building like a story in my brain, right, for doing a movie.
Oh, sweet.
And then that thing came up, right? And I was like, oh, I should do this for that, right? So then that came. So I've already built like 4 dios and a whole bunch of props just for this story.
I love it.
Like, damn you, Jeff.
I love
damn
it.
you. Every weekend I'm just sitting there painting and sculpting, and I'm like, Jesus.
I hope if it's successful and we have a good time with it, we can maybe make this an annual type thing where, not just me, but somebody else.
Yeah, for sure.
Comes up with a storyline and we can all kind of participate in, because I think it's going to be fun. I think it's new. It's kind of neat to do. We don't know how it's really going to turn out, but we'll do this one, and then we'll go from there.
So let me ask you a question, and this is just a general question because this happens a lot with all these things, right? Mm-hmm. How much worry do you have that all these people are signing up and a lot of them are not going to finish?
If I was depending on them to finish, if I needed the content for a channel, like I would care. But since it's really,
it's just to help them grow, right? Yeah.
Now there is going to be prizes. Like there'll be I think I said it on my video. There's like a 3-tier prize we're going to have, and I think some other guys have been interested in giving prizes out too. So there's going to be I'm making a custom Super Joe figure to give out, and then I'm going to make a couple other things to give out too. So there is incentive. I think really the hardest thing is going to be kind of judging it all, because it's going to be subjective, right? I mean,
Travis and I went through that because we did Toyvember in November where we gave prompts for taking photos, and we were supposed to have all these guest judges, but it never worked out just because everybody's, running around holidays. Bad time of year for Travis to decide that he wanted to do that. We should have done it in February when everybody's just kind of chilling, waiting for winter to be over.
Right.
And we did it in November, but then him and I are looking at all these pictures. We're like, well, this one's great. This one's great. But, you don't want to just give all the points awarded to the guy that's a professional photographer that does it for toy companies,
Yeah.
Because you also don't want to exclude him because that's what he does for his living, so there's still many of them that are just well, there's both good, so let's this one's got a little bit more tied into this prop and this prompt, and so that's always the worst part.
That's going to be a tough part. I think what my plan right
now, are you letting anybody participate as long as they have a YouTube channel and can do it could be like any action figure, right? It doesn't have to be.
Yeah. I kind of opened it up to that, and like you don't have to have a YouTube channel for one of the tiers you do, but if you're just like, if you have Facebook, I or Instagram, we'll see how it turns out. It's kind of a new thing, right? I mean, I'm trying to figure it all out, but I think what my plan right now is to get with the original members of the Axis of Awesome group that we're in, and we all sit down and kind of look and decide what we're going to try to do it as a collective,
right?
To kind of see who's the winner.
So you got if anybody wants to know more details, you can go over to Jeff's channel. He's got
there's a video. Yeah, there's a video of it. Yeah, for sure.
With this logo thing on it, I think, right? This has the thumbnail.
Yep.
That explains more, but give everybody just like a brief rundown of what the concept is and the time frame of it. So in case anybody really wants to get involved in this in the chat and just thinking about it.
So the concept's just to create an original story or photo. So when I say story, you can do a photo story, which is what I do, or you can do a stop motion, or you can just do a photograph, like a photograph contest.
Yeah.
That centers around a cursed golden skull, like in the picture there. And I don't care what the story doesn't have to be anything. There's no specific requirements. Just make it around a golden skull. I mean, you can just have a picture of a guy holding a golden skull with his head chopped. I don't care. It doesn't matter. And we're giving everybody from the end of January until October of this year. We would like everything to be kind of done and starting to be submitted by October, so we can put them on our respective channels and start featuring these and talking to people and said, hey, what do you guys, this is so-and-so, like Ed Kozak just sent in this picture. And this is a really cool picture. And then we'll feature them on Paul's live stream, or I'll do it on one of my videos as well. And then we'll have a follow-up show probably in November where we announce the winners and we talk about those photos or photo stories and give kind of a brief synopsis for everybody.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's something I just came up with because I just wanted to do something to involve.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Like I said, that video hit. I was sitting here talking to my son. I'm like, I want to do this story, with this character, and this is what I want to do. And I don't know exactly. I want to do I was telling him like it's him, and he watches your photo stories with me, right? Sometimes you got to see what Jeff did this time, right? And he's like, oh, that's pretty cool, He's a teenager, so it's his enthusiasm. When he says it's cool, I just got to roll with it,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I want to do one of those, and then he's like, well, what are you going to do? I was like, I got this idea or that idea I'm throwing around. And then like 2 days later, your thing for the Golden Skulls came up. I was like, that's what I'm doing right there. That's it. I can just tie it into that and I can go from there because that gives me at least the centerpiece of where I'm basing my story around.
Isn't that funny how that works out? Just kind of shit just falls in your lap.
Yeah. So you want to show off some stuff?
I will show you. Yeah, I will show you this. We were talking about those heads. So here is the first head that I finished up. So this is kind of what they're going to look like. So the heads are resin, and then I hand painted them, and then I put them on a Cotswold neck post. So there you go.
So you're molding them with the neck peg in there, and then pulling that out. Or you're molding them without that.
I'm molding without it, and I just I can put the muscle body neck post in there, so it already has the hole centered. It's the center mass of the head. Then I just drill it out, and then I just dry fit the neck post in there, and then just glue them in place, and then I flock them, then I glue them on there.
Yeah,
I hand painted this. Yeah,
that looks good, and the scarring looks great, man.
Yeah, I hand painted that one. So then I also did that later '90s issue.
Oh, my favorite head, man.
Yep, I did that head. It turned out really well.
Yeah,
I was worried about how I was going to paint the eyes, but the eyes actually turned out a lot better than I thought. I think it looks great.
It looks good, dude. I can't do eyes anymore, man. I can't. Like my eyes are
too
not
shaky?
good enough to even see. No, I can hold my hand steady. I can't see the damn eyeballs.
Then I did an African American figure.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I'll have to get a peg from Cotswold to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then I also did a Defender figure with an eye patch.
Oh, that's super dope, man. That thing is awesome.
I actually put a scar on his cheek.
I always like the Defender head. The body, the body's the body, right?
Right.
Hasbro cheaping out, trying to save some money. But the head was always a good sculpt.
Yeah, I do. I think so too. I put the Defender head on a Cotswold body.
Yep.
So I have 4 more heads I'm working on right now, and those will be done. And I'm probably just going to throw them all on eBay in March.
So you're just going to sell them as the head, not put them out of body.
Nope, the head with the neck post. I actually did one last year that was an aged adventure with a big scar, and he had like a blind eye, and it was really successful. A lot of people loved it, so I figured, what the hell, let's do some more.
When I first started flocking heads, dude, and was selling them on like eBay, anything that wasn't like the normal brown, red, or blonde. I was doing like grays, salt and peppers, and whites. Those things were just like, people were just eating those things up. I mean, I'd sell a head and then go buy like a huge lot of beat up heads and just turn around, and I was making mad cash doing that stuff. There's time involved with cleanup and repaint. And, I always touched up the eyebrows and the scar and the lips and the eyeballs and everything. But man, I could do like a regular sea adventure head, and it might get me, $30, $40, whatever it was.
Right.
I do one in salt and pepper, and it's $75, $100. It's like, damn.
Yeah, flocking. I buy mine from flockit.com, and they don't give you a shipping discount.
No.
Like, it's like each bag is like whatever. I'm like, what? I was like, because I made a big order, and I know that Stacy Sig 20, he orders a ton of flocking.
Yeah, Stacy.
But I was like, holy shit.
Stacy and I used to exchange flock sometime, because he'd call me, he'd hit me up, and he'd be like, how much red do you got? I'm like, I got like 4 or 5 bags. He's like, how much blonde? I'm like, only one. He's like, I'll trade you. I was like, yep, because it was cheaper for us to send it back and forth than it was to order from Flockit. But you can't beat the quality, right? You can't.
No, they got great flock. He's great. I got him on Syndico auctions too, and he's like regretting it. He's like, dude. Speaking of Syndico, I did want to share this with you. So I just got this. You'll see it on my my video Friday, but I'll share it with you here tonight. I got this on Syndico. Action Man Green Beret outfit.
Damn, that is clean.
This is mint and package. That's actually it's a beautiful set. I got a review coming of it.
So that was a uniform Action Man put out? A uniform set?
Yeah.
Damn.
It was a uniform Action Man. If Murray was still on here, or maybe Sean Huckster would probably know maybe as well. But I think they put it out maybe in the early 80s. It was a boxed outfit, but it's a really cool outfit. I'm doing a review of it. Yeah. I got this Action Man in Japan too for $30. So I put him in this outfit. I did a restoration of him for a video, and I also did a review. It's an amazing set.
That looks great.
It's all molded, the webbing's all molded. It's really cool. It's just very unique. The Green Beret is kind of weird, but it's the 5th Special Forces group. And the boots are those. They almost look like the Takara boots, but they're not. But
Sean says he's not familiar with that. So
cool. Well, I found it. I don't. Hopefully, when I post the video, there'll be more people.
That's the thing that's disappointing, right? Because like I remember even being like when Classic Collection was out, there was that Classicos Falcon from South America that was still being produced on the old muscle body with the flock standard GI Joe head.
Yeah,
and they were still making those things even after Hasbro stopped with the 12-inch. It was doing 3 3/4. After Hasbro relaunched Classic Collection, they decided to stop that. They were still going strong with that for years. And Action Man wasn't much different, And it's like, Hasbro, you missed such a wide range of customer base that you could have kept.
Yeah,
because I had uncles. I don't know, like I know you got an older brother, but I had uncles that were, they're only like 7, 8 years older than me, and they were all into they had like the 60s jokes, the military. And then me and my brother and my one uncle had some of the Adventure Team stuff, and then Super Joe. And then I remember when Real American Hero came out, and all my uncles were like, that's not Joe. That's get this short Joe shit out of my face, and they were mostly being sarcastic because that's my uncles. But I mean, there was a lot of, this ain't G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe's 12 inches tall.
Yeah, it's interesting when you start talking different scales with different people from different eras. Like I'm one of those, you know, I'm one of those guys nowadays where I'm like, as long as GI Joe's out there, it's probably good for all of us
Yeah, but
in
guys
some
our age,
form.
like you said in the beginning, dude, we lived through it all, right? We had the tail end of the Adventure Team, we had the Super Joe, we had the beginning of the Real American Hero, and we saw, the years of the cartoon, the years of the Real American Hero, even to the point where it got to that squirrely, DEA and toxic Avengers shit and all that stuff, right? It's like,
We lived through an era of toys that I would argue is probably unprecedented and will definitely
oh,
never ever be
never
seen
see it
again.
again.
And like you talk about the kids play video games a lot nowadays, and they could probably say the same thing. The kids who are in the video game world, like, wow, I started out playing
Yeah.
Sega Dreamcast,
Yeah.
and now I'm on this now, and yeah, they probably could have a similar kind of experience to us. But I would say that our generation, living through the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and then early 2000s, and seeing the toys evolve from what they were to what they're now is,
Yeah.
something that really I've grown the older I've gotten to appreciate it quite a bit. Like when I let off the show, I was talking to you about the people in the 1/12 scale hobby. Is like, yeah, my message to all you guys out there is enjoy it,
Yeah.
because this doesn't, like, we thought 1/6 was going to last forever.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't. And
Oh.
and we're the same thing. Like 1/12 is probably always going to be here like 1/6, but the price point and the coolness and everything, this is like you can see, in my opinion, a bubble forming.
Yep.
A bubble forms in everything.
Oh,
Right?
yeah, dude. I
It
remember
just
how disappointing it was when, like, Classic Collection started getting less and less, and they named it something different at the
yeah.
tail end there. And then 21st Century Toys sold to, was it Jack Specific that they sold to?
Is that who they sold to?
I think it was Jack Specific. And I remember that, knowing as soon as I read that, I was like, oh, shit, that's the end of this, right? Because you could go into Toys R Us or Target, Walmart, and, you'd have a 4-foot, 8-foot section of Joe that was 12-inch and smaller. They had the small stuff
Yep.
and the big stuff. And then a huge section of, Ultimate Soldier and then Soldiers of the World. It was like a whole row of just 1/6 scale, 12-inch Jeeps and all sorts of crazy stuff. And then I heard that 21st Century Toys sold themselves, and they released like, a couple more really crappy figures. And it was just like, oh, like the quality in their uniforms from when they first came out to the very end was just night and day how good they were in the beginning.
Yeah, they were like a bottle rocket.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, then I still have I have almost all my 21st Century Toy stuff, but yeah, I mean it's a great time to be a toy collector right now, and it's a great time just from the standpoint of there's so much cool shit out there, and there's so many people who are making their own things, like you have people like Sean in our hobby who makes the best 3D printed one of a kind original stuff in the planet. And then, I look at the stuff on the 1/12, like Gridiron Studios.
Oh, yeah.
I've just got lost on their page one time. I'm like, wow, I didn't really realize all this existed, and I don't want to know, because I don't want to like it.
Yeah.
And there's so many people out there that have a 3D printer and talent, and they're elevating the toy industry to a place that I've never ever seen it go before.
Well, it's cool because it's like you got people like you're doing right now with the 3D printer, right? They make parts that the things that every kid lost, back in the day, right? The raft pole, right? I mean that every kid lost the raft pole for the Mouth of Doom, right?
Right on, man.
Or the trailer hitch for the the big trapper, right? Or the trapper. Just those things like that. And then you got guys that are just like out there creating their own, like, complete figures on their 3D printer or their own vehicles. And it's just like, holy shit.
Wild mods. Like just wild modifications. And you're like, damn, you're like, yeah, you wanna feel like small.
Yep.
You look at you go on Instagram for about an hour and just search. And you're like, holy shit. know,
Yep.
and it's very, you know, of all the negativity that a lot of people like to throw out there, and rightfully so in some aspects, it's the creativity and the innovativeness of the toy industry and toy collectors right now is probably the best it's ever been.
The problem with the negativity and the entire, I mean, not just the toy community, but you know, that's where we're at most of the time with this hobby, right? It's like anything else, right? What sells on the news? What do people want to see? You know, they want to see the train wreck. They don't
Yeah,
want to hear about the guy that, you know, went and gave, you know, 100 cheeseburgers to homeless people, right? Nobody gives a shit about that. Everybody wants to see
right,
the train wreck. So what's
right.
going to sell, get my attention on, you know, get people's attention on Instagram and YouTube? It's, oh, let's stir up the drama, right? Let's make shit up and, you know, make shit toxic. And then next thing you know, that's
You
what's
ruined the
selling, right?
hobby.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, that's the cool. Yeah, Sean's right.
Yep.
Toxic
Yeah,
fandom
exactly.
ruins
Yep.
everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's like right now, man. You're like, you know, again, I guess you can always say you can always tell how well something's doing by the amount of fake outrage there
Yep.
is, you know, and that's definitely the case right now. But the action figure community, it's you if you go looking for it, you can find it,
I
and
laugh
I try
at
to
most.
stay away from it.
I try to stay neutral, and I just laugh at it
Yeah,
because you know, like Valaverse fans and Joe fans, right? It's like those toy lines should not have any problem with each other because the toys don't. I can tell you that. I can set my Valaverse dudes up next to the Joe's guys, next to my Mescos, and none of them are having a fight unless I put them in that position, right? But these guys are like, oh fuck Hasbro, they're shit, and Valaverse is so much better, and the Hasbro guys are like, Joe's so much better than Valaverse, and I'm just like, you know, the figures are all that matter, right?
yeah.
And figures are all equal. There's shit about one that I don't like, and there's shit about the other that I don't like, and there's shit that I do like about both of them too. And it's insanity.
Yeah, you know, in an ideal world, which obviously we don't live in, y- your competition with one another should push you to get better. That's one thing I don't really
Yep.
see right now in a lot of these competing toy lines. Now, when 21st Century Toys and Hasbro were going direct head to head in the aisles, they were forcing each other to get
Oh
better
yeah. Oh yeah.
because you can definitely see a point where Hasbro saw what 21st Century Toys was doing, especially when it came to large scale vehicles and
Yep.
quality of weapons and products. And then they kind of elevated themselves
Oh yeah.
to get on their level.
That Hummer and the Willys that Hasbro put out, far above what 21st Century Toys put out for Hummers and the
Oh,
Willys.
for
Far and
sure.
above. I mean, it was just blew it out
Hasbro,
of the water, right?
yeah, but I never remember the like any kind of venom between 21st Century Toys and
No,
Hasbro
no,
people.
you
Like
never.
collectors, we were like, "Damn, this is great. We got
Yeah.
both." But yeah, you're right. The Valaverse and the classified people, there's like, I'm sure it's not that way with all of them. I'm sure it's just a small group of people, but I don't know. But I think they're
I
both cool
just hear a
lines.
lot more of it because, like, Punk told the story one time about, and it wasn't him that said it, but it was some friend of his, right? Somebody else he's talking to, and it's so true because, like, we're all, I hate you because you don't collect Ninja Turtles, and I think you're stupid because you collect Hasbro. But if I'm walking through the office and I go by your desk and I see your action figure collection, I'm not going to give two shits as a collector that it's, you know, GI Joe or Hasbro or Mezco or whatever's on your desk, right? And I've seen what your desk looks like, right? A lot of Star Wars, a lot of different things, right? You have
Yep.
a good, you know, buffet there. But I mean, I'm going to walk by and like say, did I just see that first of all? And then should I go up and tell him I'm a collector too? Because he's obviously not afraid to show that he's a collector, right? So
Yeah.
I'm going to go. I mean, it wouldn't matter if you had nothing but turtles on there. I'm still going to be like, oh, cool, you collect Ninja Turtles. I collect, you know, GI Joe or whatever it happens to be, right? But on the
Yeah.
internet, man, it's just
Oh
like,
no, it's crazy different. Yeah, you know it's funny. Like my desk at work is a definite conversation starter for a lot of people. And I guess what I kind of find unique about my desk at work is every figure on there. I can almost I wouldn't say every, but the majority of figures in that I call it the pantheon of heroes.
yeah,
I can tell you a personal story from my childhood that relates to almost all those figures. Like for example, I loved Battle of the Planets as a kid.
Yep.
Like, it's still one of my favorite cartoons. The intro to that cartoon, it's burned in my mind for the rest of my life. My favorite figure is probably Jason or Joe the Condor, depending on what side
Yep.
of the Pacific you're on. And somebody comes in and they're like, who's that guy? Is that a member of Voltron? I'm like, no, but that group probably inspired the
Yep.
people that would go on to create Power Rangers and Voltron. And I will tell them about coming home from kindergarten when I was a kid. Battle of the Planets would be on a local TV station,
Yep.
and I would sit and watch that cartoon. And to this day, I love that cartoon. Watching it now is hard. It's real hard.
There's some I watched it. I have like a DVD with a collection on it, right?
Yeah.
I don't even have a DVD player, but one day I think it was last year. I think I got the flu or something, and I was like, I just want something to watch. And problem with all the streaming services we have now is you can scroll through things for 3 hours and then finally decide that you're going to watch something and you're ready to fall asleep at that point in time, right?
Yeah, you're like, what am I watching?
So I'm like, I want to watch a good old cartoon. And I remember I had the Battle of the Planets, collection on DVD.
Yep.
And my daughter has a Xbox or whatever. So I brought it out, hooked it up to the TV, popped it in there, and like I'm watching it. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then like some of it, I'm just like, yeah, that's
Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little bad. It's a little terrible. Exactly.
I just bought from Japan. I bought a Artstorm G5 God Phoenix diecast metal one. I got it for like $100. I love that. That's my favorite. That's my favorite ship of all.
Did you getting the ramen toys one?
I don't know. I've went back and forth on it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard because there's so many other things I want to buy. It's kind of interesting because I go back and forth on things I want, and then I buy things to support other people. Like, for example, Luca Porpanica's Felipe Monaco. Yeah. So Felipe is doing a special 75 figure run of his figure he created, Mechanus, made by Grunga Toys. I had him on my live stream a month ago, probably.
Yeah, I remember
about
that. Yep.
And I had him on there, and I felt obligated to buy one from him because I'm like, you know what? If this guy would take the time out of his day to come on my small ass show and talk about it, and it's his passion, and he loves what he's doing, I'm gonna spend the money to buy that from him. And I ordered one off Sydney down there, so of course that ate my budget for some other stuff I want. So I'll have to just regroup and try to find that other stuff some other time.
You sell some stuff you might be able to.
I will, yeah, for sure. But I try to balance. I try to support other people's stuff, and at the same time, I try to buy stuff I want, not so much for me anymore, but for my son. I just bought him that Bandai Great Mazinger Shogun Warriors reproduction figure. I haven't got it out of the package. He's going to get it when he gets out of school this year.
Right. That's going to be his end of school thing.
Yeah.
I got to tell you this, right? Like, I know you don't share like a ton about your son online, right? Because you just can't, right? But the stuff you do share, like, I find it to be awesome. Like seeing Ollie out back of your house driving, the AT, mobile
ATV
headquarters or something like that, right? It's just like that is just so cool to see.
It is you don't want to share too much, but there's times where he's on there and he's like, hey, I want to jump on that video, and I'm like, well, okay, we can get on there for a little bit. And but as he gets older, he might want to jump on and do a video or something, and that's fine. I try to let him do stuff every once in a while, but he spends a lot of time in my workshop hanging out, and he loves toys.
I told you before, man, like my son, and he's 19 now, but it started probably when he was 2 years old. In order to get him potty trained, I'd sit him on the toilet and I'd sit on the tub next to him, and I'd give him a superhero quiz, like, who's Peter Parker? And he'd be like, Spider-Man, who's Bruce Banner? Or like, what's the Hulk's alter ego? Just back and forth, all these things, right? And then I started buying him all the toys, and Star Wars and Batman and all that stuff, right? And I mean, he's just a mini me now, right? But the end of the day, right? Like, we'll go hiking on a nice summer day, right? And he knows I always got a few figures in my backpack to take pictures of. And he'll
Uh-huh.
get down in the mud and take pictures with me, and he'll bring his own figures once in a while to do it, right? It's like it was such a great bonding thing that I think a lot of dads miss out on because a lot of them are so worried about, oh, well, my kid's got to be the baseball star, or I got him to be the football star, or
Yeah.
he's got to be
Yep.
into cars, right? My dad was a mechanic his whole life, and I could give a shit less about cars. I like cars. There's nothing like good old muscle car is always great to see because that's what we grew up seeing. But it's like I don't need to know about how to fix it. I can fix it. I can do an oil change if I have to. But I just
Yeah.
for a guy that had a dad as a mechanic, my brother, he's all into cars because he spent the time out in the garage with my dad working on that stuff. I was in my bedroom building shit out of cardboard.
Yeah, it is funny, like to see what Ollie's interested in when he comes down and he sees all the toys that we have. Some stuff he's not interested in, some stuff he is. Like
Yep.
he loves Super Joe, but not the 8-inch ones. He loves the ones I make.
Yeah.
And he loves those for some reason. He has like 2 or 3 of them upstairs.
Yep.
He loves the Adventure Team guys because he loves the Fuzz heads. He doesn't like the classified guys so much, but he likes Marvel Legends Iron Man.
Yeah.
And but Shogun Warriors, those 24-inch tall robots, he literally
He's like those for as long as I can remember.
Oh man, and I don't know what it is about him. And I think that's the thing with kids. I have noticed they like big things they can play with, like big things that they can like.
Yeah. Yep.
He likes that because ever since he's been about 3 years old, he's had his Shogun Warriors. His collection's grown, but he loves just the size and scale of something like that.
Yeah.
And it's his most prized collection. I mean, nobody gets to touch those.
Like it's one of those things like with my kid, right? Like I never told him to like Silver Surfer. That's something he grew to like organically,
Mhm.
right? I mean, like when he was young, I mean, the kid's name is Luke. I named her after Luke Skywalker, right? And he liked
Mhm.
Star Wars, but it kind of, it wasn't like his be all end all, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like, I was hoping he was going to be this big Star Wars nerd, right? And he
Mhm.
likes it, but he's not a big Star Wars nerd. I'm a big Batman guy, right? Batman's cool, but I don't really give a shit about Batman, right?
Mhm.
Silver Surfer, hell yeah, I like Silver Surfer. But it's just like our cartoons. You talk about like Ollie looking at your old toys. I'll sit down with Luke sometimes and watch old cartoons. Loves Brave Star, right? I put
Mhm.
on Black Star, which was one of my favorites as a kid.
Mhm.
He's like, yeah, this is all right. But Brave
Yeah.
Star, he's like, this is just awesome, right? It's like,
It's very odd, yeah, because Ollie hates, I wouldn't say hates Star Wars. He just doesn't really gravitate, but he loves Clone Troopers. Like he
Yeah.
literally loves. Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen the Batman shown with the playset inside there. I think Imagine X also makes a giant
Yeah, they did.
Darth Vader,
Yeah.
but he has no interest in Star Wars, but he loves Clone Troopers. I'd say his favorite thing is Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh,
He is a huge Sonics fan. I don't know how many nights we spend. I'll get on ChatGPT because you can say, ChatGPT, who'd win a fight between Supersonic and this character?
yeah.
And I'm always shocked because ChatGPT, whatever it is, it's fun to use for stupid stuff like that. It'll spit out some answer and then it's hilarious. So he's obsessed right now with, ironically enough, Silver Surfer. Because we were laying in bed one night and we were talking about who's the most powerful superhero. And I said, Silver Surfer is probably up there. Who's Silver Surfer? And I explained to him Silver Surfer was. So now he's obsessed with can Supersonic beat Silver Surfer? And according to ChatGPT, he can. He just can't let that go. Yeah. He's like, well, what if? And I'm just like, so it's those are the conversations we have.
Yeah, that's like I was saying, right? My son and I was the same way, right? It started with just superhero quizzes, easy stuff. Batman is Bruce Wayne, right? Just simple stuff, and it escalated to what was Luke Skywalker's call sign, the X-wing, right? It's Red 5, standing by, right? Then it just evolved into things like that, right? Dad, who would win a fight if it was Hulk versus Batman? It's like,
I get the fights all the time, and I have to look it up, and I'm always like, dude, I didn't really know how powerful this character was, like I'm a huge Godzilla fan. Like I'm like Godzilla kicks everybody's ass, and but come to find out, Mazinger Infinity could beat Godzilla. And I'm like, what? He's like, I told you, Dad. I'm like, shit, man. All right. So
I was lucky enough that when my son was little, the internet wasn't as big as it. I mean, it was already popular, but it wasn't like ChatGPT where you have all these answers that come out, right? Because I could at least convince him when he was Ollie's age that that I was right. That Hulk could beat so and so because of this reason, right? Oh, well, that makes sense, Dad.
Yeah.
And if you say it, Dad, it's got to be right, right?
The internet has
my ass, man.
Yeah, the internet has made it a little less fun to argue about who would beat who when you can pull from about 1 billion opinions and the blink of an eye.
I got a 19-year-old named Luke. If you want him,
Star Wars, my guy, man. I try to click everything. Well, hey, man, I probably ought to jump off of here. It's
getting late.
I got to go to work tomorrow, unfortunately.
So do I. I don't ever sleep, so it's okay.
I appreciate you having me on, man. I had a great time.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. This is fun, dude. We got to catch up more often. And
I'm glad everybody jumped in on the chat too.
Me too.
We had some people from, my end of the pool and people from your end of the pool, and we're all swimming in the same pool. So
that's right. And like I said, Jeff's YouTube channel is linked in the description, and your Instagram is the same thing, right? Skunkworks Studio, or is it?
Yeah, yes. Everything's consistent now.
All right.
And I'll be on a Punk with Toys Thursday night, so definitely jump on there and check it out. I think it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna share. I'll give you a little sneak peek. I'm gonna share something with him that being in the same pool. I was thinking that, Sean, when I said that.
Water turns blue, doesn't it?
You beat me to the methyl blue. It turns methyl blue. No, I'm going to share some items that I've never, ever, ever shared before that are G.I. Joe related on Punk's channel. So
G.I. Joe related. Like real G.I. Joe or stuff you made or both?
No, real stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yep. From the archives.
Nice.
So, yeah, I think it's going to be cool.
I'll be there because I got a mod anyway, so I'll be there first.
I think it's going to be really fun. I love to talk to new people, and hopefully I can start my live stream on Thursdays coming up here in March, and I'd like to get some people on there. I'll have you on there. I'll try to get Sean Huckster on there and Action Joe Figs and some other guys because I love just talking about hobbies.
Sean, are you looking for Punk's link? You probably have Punk's link.
Yeah, I'll post that link. I think
you put it in the video anyway that it was on Instagram.
Yeah, I'll post it on Facebook, and you'll be able to see that, Sean. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, Jeff, thanks for coming.
Hey, man, appreciate it.
This is fun. It's always good to catch up with you. We've gone back further. I said, I think we've been friends for like 12 or 15 years and still never met in person.
Probably close to 15.
A long time. So,
well, tell your co-host that I should come on sometime with you guys and we can talk wrestling because I would love to debate what's the best era of wrestling.
You don't want to get Travis started on wrestling. We'll be here you better start the show at like 5 p.m. because we'll be here till midnight.
Yeah. Well, before we go, does he collect wrestling figures?
Yeah, that's where he started. So Travis, growing up was mainly like all WWE or WWF figures back then, right?
Yeah.
WCW and all the stuff, all the iterations that we've gone through since then.
Does he
he was collecting like WWE figures, and then somehow or other he decided he was going to pick up some Valaverse or Classified or something, and now he's ass deep in everything. But
does he get the big rubber guys?
No, he doesn't get those.
He does. I love those because I'm an LJN guy. I will argue.
I check them out. Yes, all the time.
Oh, I wanted to. Ollie's a big Macho Man fan. He has my Macho Man LJN figure, and I like those Zombie Sailor Toys figures.
Yeah,
I'll argue LJN's the best wrestling line with anybody. I don't care.
Dude, my cousin had all of those LJN big.
I did too. Had the cage, everything.
And me and him had so much fun with those things. It wasn't even funny, And Travis was a semi-pro wrestler. He was like him and his brother.
He looks like he would be.
Him and his brother were going to become like tag teams, and they were going to like the training or whatever.
No shit.
Yeah, so definitely we'll get you on for that. Travis loves to talk wrestling, so
I love to talk wrestling too. I'm a huge wrestling guy.
Punk back probably around Joe Fest time again as another Joe Fest show for that too. So
cool. Are you going?
I'm going to Joe Fest again.
Yeah. Okay,
Punk
cool.
and I are sharing a room at Joe Fest this year, so
I'm gonna try to make it to a con one of these days. It's just kind of hard now, you know.
there's one. What the hell is it called?
I might go Kentucky. Kentucky's the closest one for me.
Well, there's
like-
one. I don't know if Punk or Charles, if anybody's in the thing. I'll have to see what that is. I'll ask Punk what that show is. But there's one in the state right over next to you, Iowa or not Iowa, something like that. Maybe I can't remember, but I didn't think it was that far from where you're at. So
Cool.
and it was like a smaller con, and now it's because all the bigger cons are kind of like going smaller, and the smaller cons are kind of all leveling out to that same size. So we've got a bunch of cons that are
To build a bubble.
Yep.
Another bubble coming.
Exactly. Another
Build a
bubble.
bubble.
Exactly.
Another
So,
bubble.
yeah.
All right,
Anything you
man.
want to promote before you go?
I don't think so. Just check out
All right.
Skunkworks Studios if you if you're a guy who likes to check out new things that really aren't in the 1/12 wheelhouse. I do cover some 1/12 reviews. I do a lot of custom
I've
stuff.
translated right into 1/12 scale stuff. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
all translated.
I just do a lot of just random stuff, and just try to be me. That's about it.
That's all you can do, brother.
That's all
So-
I got to do.
Thanks everybody for coming, and we will see you. Don't forget to check out Jeff on Punk with Toys Thursday night, 9 p.m. Thursday with a friend, and me and Travis will be back next Tuesday. I believe we're getting joined by the Hella Dope guys, so tune in for that, and we shall see you all later.
That'll be a hella dope show, guys. Take it easy. Keep living.
Hang out now, but remember this. Let your toys breathe. Do this. Toys on the desk. It's the new habitat. TOYLEET TAKEOVER. We're loving that. It's a stack high in the air where it's at. Everywhere's a playground for Mr. Wonderful. In the office, living room, let them breathe. Action fix hit the trail through the mud and under sail. It's the TOYLEET life beyond the shelf we prepare. Figures and cents in perfect place. With hacks to stack, we own the space. From battle seeds to epic quests, our collection's always at its best.